Let's do this.
Hey, I'm Oxnard. Psst. Hey, psst. It's me.
Who's that?
Over here.
What?
It's Dexter, Oxnard. Hey.
Oh man, where's boss?
He's I think he's in the toilet.
Okay, well, boss
Real
is in
quick.
the toilet.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about secret spoiler shit for Game of Thrones. Last year or last season we had a similar video where we talked about our thoughts of what's going to happen before they happened because we've read the books and well, you're ahead of me. I'm just now beginning Dance of Dragons.
Oh, okay. You're just beginning.
But so now is our chance to talk about stuff. We don't have to keep whispering. It's going to be really annoying.
Yeah, I feel like that's really creepy.
Claire had a very good suggestion where she said we're going to do the spoiler episode, and then obviously people want to comment.
Oh, yeah.
Be as spoilerific as you want. This is the video to do it. Just start talking spoilers, start making up shit. Everyone go nuts.
Just make up fan fiction.
Yeah, go nuts.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do a follow-up video talking about the discussion in the comments.
Sure.
So,
yeah, that'll be fun.
It's going to be
Because
fun.
I'm excited to see what other people are excited about and what they want to see happen and their comments. That's always good.
So there's going to be a very free-form video. We're just going to be talking about, you know, whenever Boss is here, as we said before, like, we have to be so careful what we say. There have been so many moments where I'm about to say to you something, and I'm like, oh, man. And I know you said Jingle says, hey, Oxnard.
Oh, yeah, Jingles always says that you spoil things. I think he thinks you cut it too close.
I cut it too close? I'm trying to get it to
You've been good. You were good in the more recent episode that we had, but there was only one instance that I felt like, ooh, that was close, where you were like basically telling Boss, like, hey, don't worry, something you'll see, like, you know, basically assuring him that something that he mentioned was going to happen.
Okay,
but that was really the only thing.
Trying to hold back. See, that's the thing. Like, after the Red Wedding, that's like the big spoiler. Like, I never wanted to get close to.
Yeah.
Now that we're after that, I kind of get to that.
And after now that Joffrey's dead too, I feel like the two really enormous, you know, shocking things that would have been easily spoiled, I feel like they're all like, for me it was Ned Stark, the Red Wedding. Oh, there were like four things that I thought were really shocking that were hard for me to not talk about to people that I would watch it with. And it was Ned Stark getting killed, and it was Jaime getting his hand cut off, because in the book, to me, that was shocking.
Yeah.
And then it was Joffrey dying. Oh, the Red Wedding and Joffrey dying. And then now that, like, there's a lot of really cool stuff, and there are spoilers, but those to me were like such huge events.
Right. So now the next big spoilers that we're going to get to is obviously, as Boss predicted in the last...
Yeah, which I was like, wow.
He got it dead on.
Yeah.
And I was trying to play it off, but I think he knew I was like trying to...
That's what I mean. You gave that up, I think, a little bit. But that's not really a big shock, but...
It's what happened. Like, okay, you can predict that we're
well, we know they set it up because
the Mountain and Oberyn's going to be chosen by Tyrion for trial by combat.
Well, he's going to. Does he get chosen, or Oberyn offers to do it?
Basically, I think
after the Mountain is chosen, I think Oberyn offers, because I think Cersei chooses Gregor.
I forget, but doesn't Cersei pick the Mountain because he chose Oberyn or something like that? Like, it's...
I can't remember which one comes first. Someone will correct us, but that's basically what transpires. Yeah. It's those two.
And
that
know. Fight that's going to come up, which I cannot wait to see, which is I think is going to be the high point of the season.
Because Oberyn in action, that's going to be fucking great.
Yeah, because that fight in the book was one of the most... the coolest thing. What does he keep saying to the Mountain? Like, oh, shit. You raped my sister. Like, he repeats this mantra over and over again, reminding the Mountain, like, this is what you did to me.
Yeah.
And he's doing this.
He's got the spear.
Yeah, he fights with a spear, and the other thing that Oberyn does that no one knows about is he coats the end of the spear with this very deadly poison that doesn't kill you immediately, but it makes you suffer, and it's a horrible, long death.
Oh, yeah.
And what's going to happen is he's going to stab the Mountain. The Mountain's going to die, But then the last thing, I think what happens, he puts the spear right through the mountain's chest. He pins him to the ground.
Yeah.
And he's right up in his face. And everyone thinks, oh shit, he won. And then all of a sudden the mountain reaches up, grabs Oberyn's head, and I think just basically crushes it.
Yeah,
and kills him right there.
It was fucked up.
And I remember in that chapter they had said like Tyrion, he was so confident that he was going to win. He had like this huge breakfast, and then the moment all that went down and they both died, like he just lost his breakfast and he just threw up everywhere. So there's a vomit scene coming up, and as an emetophobic, I'm kind of
you're preparing yourself.
Yeah, but it's Tyrion throwing up, so it's someone I care about, so it doesn't bother me as much.
So I see. If you have an emotional attachment to a person throwing up,
yeah, because then
it's not as gross.
Yeah, because I understand why that's happening. But that's going to be such a dramatic scene, and you think that's going to be next episode?
I don't think so. I honestly.
So what's
I
going to
think
happen
that's going to be.
episode?
I think that's going to be the second to last episode.
Okay. Oh, actually, we don't even have to, because they list the names of the episodes on the Wikipedia. Let me show you.
Oh, maybe they'll see.
Game of Thrones season.
Is it going to be like Dragon Ball Z, where it's like
Goku lives?
Goku lives.
I wonder what happens here.
Vegeta's dead.
Krillin gay? I can tell you exactly. It's gonna be episode 8. Next episode is called Mockingbird. Episode 8 is called The Mountain and the Viper.
Oh, so there you go.
There you go. Episode 9 is called The Watchers on the Wall. So that's gonna.
Oh, that's gonna be the big fight there. That's
Yes.
Mance Raider coming and attacking the wall.
Holy shit! There's so much fucking.
So
good shit.
that may be another, and then spoiler. That's Ygritte death scene.
Yes, and then
Oh, so
episode
wait.
10 is going to be called The Children. So
Oh, that's a Bran episode.
yes. And
Oh,
also,
I don't know how far into Dance with Dragons you even are, because they're basically in Dance with Dragons stuff with Bran.
Yeah, but the way it's going, I kind of know what's going on in Dance with Dragons because I kind of see how it's.
See, this sucks, man. I can't even. I want to talk about something now in the spoiler episode. I can't even talk about because I'll spoil it for you.
Does Dance and Dragons have any spoiler that's as big as like the Red Wedding or?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I already listed like my 4 major spoilers.
That's
not true. Hold on, I better hold on a second because people are probably going to yell at me. I mean, there's a couple of there's one really big thing that is revealed. Okay, yeah, I forgot because it's been a while.
Okay,
because I read it when it first came out, and that was like 2011 already. Jesus Christ, he's got to hurry up.
I know. I need to read it.
I don't want to turn it into that kind of episode, but yeah, it's
you got
to get.
Remember that book?
Oh, I've been reading that. I've only read like the first 50 pages or 40 pages.
Read it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm reading the Walking Dead comics right now. So
like after I saw Gravity, I got so much into like sci-fi and space kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just started pouring into it. I don't know. Like a lot of people didn't like Gravity, but for some reason, I saw Gravity.
Well, you saw it in IMAX, Super IMAX, like 3D
I saw it
or whatever,
3
right?
times in IMAX 3D, and then I saw it with you guys. I just love that. I love the whole experience. I was like, I was there, and I listened to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name, but if you listen to the track Shenzhou, which is where she's like re-entering Earth's orbit, like the music there.
Cool, yeah.
I'm telling you, listen to that song. That's like the best fucking movie score I've ever heard. It's like amazing. It makes you so pumped up. You can like do anything to that song. Anyway,
even survive a botched re-entry into Earth's atmosphere.
You will survive.
Yeah, but basically all I've read in The Martian is him collecting his own shit and because he's setting up like a planter area.
All right.
And he's making his own fertilizer, and then he was using hydrazine to extract H2 so that he can make water and use he had oxygen from another source. But that's all that's happened so far. But anyway, people have no idea what I'm talking about.
If you read The Martian, you know.
Yeah.
Just keep reading.
So at some point, and I know I'm getting off the original topic here, but Jon Snow. Episode 10. That's the one that's going to be that battle, right?
No, I think
that's the men on the wall. Oh no, episode 9,
the Watchers on the Wall.
So Watchers on the Wall. So in that episode or in an upcoming episode before that, Jon Snow's going to be elected Lord Commander, isn't he? Or
yes.
No? Or is he Lord Commander after the fighting?
I think it's after the battle, yeah.
Okay.
And I remember
maybe so episode 10 maybe that'll happen.
And I'm very curious how they're going to do this battle because in the book First of all, they completely eliminated that whole thing where Jon Snow was like imprisoned at the wall.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like one of the comments last week, the guy even said like, a quarter of the story, Jon Snow is just trapped.
Yeah.
And then finally the attack happens, and I think he happens to escape, and then he starts, bringing everyone together. And then what they do is they have like these barrels of water that freeze, and that they would drop as the hordes of the wildlings are hitting the wall.
Yeah.
And it's not even that. First, it's Mance Rayder has constructed like this big they call it like this turtle thing, which is basically this big structure that everyone's hiding under, and they're marching towards the wall, and they're trying to drop things on it, and they destroy it.
Yeah.
And also at that same time, like they're charging like giants towards the wall, and so it's really cool.
It's great. And they also have a bunch of basically scarecrows set up along the perimeter to make it like flesh out their numbers. Yeah. And that comes in handy. But
just like the Alamo, that was the Alamo, right?
Was it? I don't know.
Was it like the hordes of Indians, Native Americans were attacking the Alamo?
Mexicans, wasn't it?
Mexicans? I forget. I don't know. I don't know American history.
What do I know? I only have a bachelor's degree in history. Expect me to know these things?
But yeah, it's just to, intimidate. But they're very, it's the wall, very low manned place.
Oh, yeah.
No one pays any attention to it.
It's going to be exciting.
And
that's going to be exciting. Because I want to see giants. I want to see mammoths.
We've seen one giant. That's it. We had one shot of a giant carrying a giant log.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of. So there's two huge things that happen in Dance with Dragons. I just realized.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm disappointed. I'll say. Overall in the series, I'm disappointed with Jon Snow's story arc in the show.
Okay.
I don't know.
I know Tyrion leaves Westeros.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
He goes in. I know Tyrion goes into hiding.
He does.
The only reason I know that is because just from reading other stuff, like I don't actively seek out spoilers, but occasionally like some guy commenting on something is, and then Tyrion when he was doing this, and I know people were upset because Tyrion is like wallowing around in pig shit and he's running around in a pig. Like he felt like they belittled him a little bit.
Well, it wasn't by choice. He was doing these things out of necessity. Like that's the point. He's hit this low point.
All right, we got to talk about this. This is what's going to happen at the end of the season. Tyrion. Is going to.
So he
we were
makes
talking about
his
this
escape.
Before. You were telling me you read an interesting theory on Reddit.
Yeah.
Where you were saying Tywin.
Jingles actually turned me on to this.
Oh, okay.
But basically, so what's going to happen is after this fight between Oberyn and the Mountain that we were talking about earlier, when Oberyn is killed horribly and the Mountain dies another horrible.
How graphic do you think
death.
they're going to make that? Because
I don't think they're going to show total head crushing, like Walking Dead death scene kind of thing,
never
like
seen
for a
that.
walker.
I would like to see Oberyn's head being crushed by a gigantic monster.
I mean, I can't wait to see how gigantic they actually make the Mountain look, because you've only seen him, you haven't really seen him. What am I trying to say?
Here's a picture I sent you once. This is the actor who plays the Mountain next to Cersei. And I'll put this up for people to see.
Oh my god!
This guy.
Oh my god! Yeah,
like he's a
holy shit. He's in some shape too.
Yeah, he's like an Icelandic, Nordic. Like that's a fucking
Jesus
giant
Christ!
Man.
She's like laughing out of fear. It looks like. Yeah. Wow. He's fucking massive. Yeah, because I was thinking like in the show, like you see him, but you don't really get to see him a lot. You know what I mean? There's just a few times where you catch some, a couple scenes of him, but it's going to be fucking amazing, that fight. And then
there he is again next to Cersei. Like his arm is as big.
Wow, as her.
As her torso.
Jesus.
Oh god. Have you ever been next to like a really big, like tall, big person?
No, I mean I've met a couple basketball players before.
Like I'm somewhat tall. I'm like 6'1", but I've been around people who are like, like these 6'5" kind of people who are also like wide and big, and it makes me nervous to be around like another human being who was like, if this guy really wanted to, he could pick me up over his head and throw me off a building or something. Like if he's
just for fun.
Yeah, if he snapped right now, he could wrap his hand around my neck and squeeze, and that's it.
I mean, most people are taller than me. I mean, I'm not very short, but I'm only like 5'8".
Right.
So I find that that guy is. I mean, what is he? 7'2"?
I don't know. He's huge. By the way,
Jesus.
Vice had a very good documentary. It's called the Giants of Iceland, and it's about how Iceland has like the highest proportion of men who are just like these
Really?
like fucking gigantic muscle men, and they're talking about like the strongman competition. Like that's where that stemmed from. Like people just lift something heavy. Like let's lift up a car over my head.
It's like in Braveheart when they're like, "Oh, it's a wedding, so let's have some wedding games. Throw the boulder."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's see who can throw this heavy stone the farthest.
Yeah, and it's like it's just about like who's big and strong, and like in Iceland has like all these gigantic people
That's hilarious.
and extremely beautiful women. It's very bizarre. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Icelandic women. What the hell were we talking about?
We were talking about the mountain and how.
Oh, so anyway, so yeah, Tyrion. So then after he basically he's done for. You know what I mean? That's it. He's lost that fight, the trial by combat. So it's only a matter of time for him now. And then basically what happens is Jaime comes and is like, "Come on, we're getting out of here." And so he's sneaking him out, but he's like, "Hold on a second." And he remembers when he was Hand. Varys and everything would appear. He knew, or he remembered, there's all these kind of like secret little entryways into the chambers of the Hand, the Tower of the Hand, and all this stuff. So he takes one of these, and man, sorry, drinking this fucking Pabst is making me belch.
Blue Ribbon Belch.
Yeah.
That's how they won.
So he goes up, he sneaks into Tywin's bed chambers. There, he finds Shay.
Yes. Now here's the thing. I really want to see how
surprise.
Boss reacts to this. That's one of the benefits of watching the show with someone who's never read the books, because it's always interesting to see what they think. I think he's going to be
Surprised.
very surprised that out of nowhere
He's gonna be
Tywin,
angry.
Banish Shay, and then boom, like Tyrion is like first he's going to love.
He's
first
like,
of all,
"Oh, I banish you
Yeah.
to my bedroom."
Boss is going to love the fact that there are all these secret little passageways in the castle.
Oh
and
yeah,
all
definitely.
these little things, because that's
I've seen him play Minecraft before. That's right up his alley.
Yes, that's all we did in Minecraft.
Yeah.
We would have like our house, and then everywhere you look, there was like if you
Trap
put
doors
if you put a
and-
red lever here, it'll open up this passageway, which leads to our underwater base or something.
There's like an escape plan for that thing
Yes.
to like flood it out and like all kinds of shit.
If we ever had invaders, we would run down this passageway, we'd jump down, and then we go into this obsidian encased shelter. It's like a panic room. You hit a button, and then lava floods
yeah.
everything. So all the attackers would be like, "Oh shit, we're trapped! What's that? Lava!" And we're inside laughing, and then we
it's
log
like
out.
it's like Bruce Wayne level like paranoia, and like
Yes.
and like imaginative security.
But you know what's
protocols.
funny is half those things we made up, we were just playing on a server that was just me and him. So it wasn't even a chance that
I know. Well, that's
it was just like we were just come up with these scenarios, like just in case we ever play on a server, which we did end up doing. We had all these fail safes to protect us, and then one day, we started finding servers where it was like PvP servers, and then we talked about this before. We would try and find like the most desolate area where no one would suspect anyone to build anything, and so we would build like we would find like the middle of this ice lake and build down, and then as soon as we reached bedrock at the very bottom, that's where our base was. So like not only the only way to get to our base was you had to find like this hidden hole in a mountain. You had to make the right turn.
Impossible.
Yeah,
It's like Lord of the Rings type stuff.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I
then
mean?
we wouldn't play
like,
for-
only at this, 10 years from now, once every decade, at this phase of moon, light will shine upon the entryway.
Yes, but here's a
to your
retarded
secret
thing.
Base.
Here's a retarded thing. The server would completely reset after like 3 or 4 months.
Oh, really? So you'd lose all that hard work?
Yeah, it would just restart.
Oh,
so
what
I
a
was
bunch of idiots.
we are. It was just
Wasting your
wasting
time.
time.
Wasting your time.
So I think Boss is going to love the fact that there's secret passages, and I think he's also going to be very surprised that Shay is now having sex with Tywin.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, assuming that they still go that direction in the show.
yeah,
I mean, you
and
never
I
know.
think in future episodes they're going to bring up the fact that Tyrion once gave Shay that golden necklace.
Yeah, right.
Because here's the other thing: Tyrion's going to choke the fuck out of Shay and kill
yeah.
her. And
They
after-
might show in the episode where that happens, in the like the previously section. They may show that
on Lost.
previously on Game of Thrones.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
Well, that was always-
contact. Selena.
Mr. Gator.
What? Beady beady bomb. Frack. What the frack?
Frackin' frack.
Yes.
You mother fracker.
What were you saying?
Anyway, yeah. I was gonna say they may specifically show that, but also then what happens is, so he finds that, like you mentioned, he chokes a bitch. He's gonna have to choke a bitch.
Yeah. Not only because he chokes her just because the anger he's feeling, because at the trial in this last episode, like, which is a big thing in the book, where like they bring out this person and she just starts spewing lies, and it's like, what? Where is this stemming from? Like, what the fuck is your problem? And then you realize that's where it's going to pay off, where you realize, oh, she's been with Tyrion. Like, so Tyrion, Tywin is sleeping with Shay. Tywin is a judge at Tyrion's trial.
Also, the hypocrisy of Tywin basically. We know the history of Tyrion and Tywin, and that Tyrion was married once before to a woman. Turns out that she was a whore. That Tywin, then Tywin forced Tyrion to watch like all of these men fuck her, and then they paid her, and then he gave him a gold dragon, and he made Tyrion fuck her, and then pay her the gold dragon. That's like really messed up. And then now, but then I think, if I remember right, I think Jaime says, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything for you because I don't remember when this happens, but Jaime says that she was not a whore or something. Or I'm remembering it wrong. But Jaime, I think, comes clean at some point, and someone will correct me here or clarify this for me, but Jaime comes clean at some point, I think.
Like,
and
I don't think you're spoiling it because
it's like that he was behind what happened. This might happen in the tunnels, and then he hates Jaime because of this as well. He was like, he reveals that he was involved, like he knew what was going on, and he pretended like the whole thing was staged, and he was involved in it. I think that's what happens in the tunnels. Okay.
Where I am in the book, I can't imagine at any point where Jaime's going to ever interact with Tyrion ever again.
I think that happens in the tunnel. I think when he leaves Jaime there. They leave on those bad terms because
they do that. And also halfway through the tunnels, he meets Tyrion meets Varys, who's like shows him around, and then.
So anyway, after Tyrion kills Shay, we're going to have the scene where he goes, because Tywin is in the bathroom.
And he has a crossbow. Tyrion picks up a crossbow.
Tyrion has the crossbow, which I assume, I don't know,
and this goes back to your point where Tywin might have been poisoned.
So Jingles turned me on to this forum where this person had posted this entire theory called Tywin Lannister Dead Man Shitting. And if you go to boiledleather.com...
I always go there.
You can find this entry there. But basically, it's this guy lays out all of these quotes and citations from the novels. I think specifically the third book only, because I don't imagine. I can't. It must be just the third book. I can't imagine where any other evidence would be. But laying out that Prince Oberyn actually poisoned Tywin, and so he was a dead man anyway. Right. It's really interesting stuff. But what happens is, Tyrion actually delivers the killing blow by shooting him through like the gut, basically with this crossbow.
They exchange words. Tywin, which is going to be very interesting because Tywin, they've established, is just like this. Such a powerful figure.
What I love,
and
actually?
The last thing you're going to see of this very powerful guy is this guy with his pants down around his ankles, trying to take a shit.
Well, what's the... hold on one second. Let me see. There's the exact quote. He found his father where he knew he'd find him, seated in the dimness of the privy tower, bedrobe hiked up around his hips. And so it's obviously a very like demeaning way to see him. But what to your point, I love that they're doing that, and I love all the more now because one of my favorite scenes of the series is the introduction of Tywin Lannister, where you see him in this very powerful position. He's dressing the deer that he killed, and it's like really, this kind of intimidating thing. He's talking while he's just cutting up and carving up this.
And I love how
he's
like pointing the knife at Jaime as he's speaking. And
and
you're
then
a Lannister.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just going on skinning this this big buck. It's like this really awesome introduction to this character who's obviously in charge. There's like no doubt about it. It was just like really imposing figure.
Is a sign of Baratheon, right?
But that's also true there. Yes, that's right. Yeah, the stag.
The stag
is of House Baratheon. But yeah, absolutely. Good point there. And then so now you see him there, and so that's the first time you see him. And then the last time is he's taking a shit You know what I mean? He's sitting on a chamber pot with his robe hiked up, and then he gets killed while he's taking a dump or trying to take a dump.
And that's how people find him after he's killed.
And that's incredible.
And but you were saying how Oberyn might have poisoned.
So yeah, and one
Tywin.
of the things. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to read the whole thing here because it'll take forever. People should definitely check it out.
Well, basically, you were saying like one of the side effects of the poison that Oberyn might have poisoned them with would be like constipation.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to go, and I think somebody actually comments on the on this forum about it, and is saying that he would feel the need to go,
but he can't.
really badly, but he can't. So he's with Shay, but then he's like, "Oh, good, I got to go, so I'm going to take a dump." And then so that's what when Tyrion kills him, it finally releases his bowels.
Yeah,
and
this,
there's like
I remember,
an extra bad stench.
Yes, do you remember that one shot? Where I think it was after the Battle of Blackwater Bay, he's going into the throne room on his horse, and the shot just opens up with the horse dump hitting the floor.
Yeah.
So I every time.
Yes, we talked about that in the last spoiler episode.
Yes.
Actually.
So when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that is. I think that's really big foreshadowing. Although, because I don't understand why you would just show this horse dump hitting the floor with Tywin sitting. Like, that's too much of a coincidence to not mean something.
There's a bunch of quotes that this guy offers, like, "Your father said Prince Oberyn may not live forever," when he's talking to Tyrion. Something about the way he said it made the hairs on the back of Tyrion's neck bristle.
Yes.
Suddenly, he was mindful of Elia again, and all that Oberyn had said as they crossed the field of ashes. He wants the head that spoke the words, not just the hand that swung the sword.
Yes. You know what? That theory makes a lot of sense because don't you also remember after Tywin's dead and they're having like his wake? Everyone who approaches his corpse, they all say, "Man, he smells really weird," or like, "There's a very foul stench around." Like,
yeah,
it's like an unnatural stench about his corpse.
Exactly, and this guy cites this section where it says the king's hand was rotting visibly. His face had taken on a greenish tinge, and his eyes were deeply sunken, 2 black pits. Fissures had opened in his cheeks, and a foul white fluid was seeping through the joints of his splendid gold and crimson armor to pool beneath his body.
Yeah.
So there's a that's right, and there's that noticeable odor that everybody can. And Jamie, that's in a Jamie chat because he's standing guard there, like as a tradition, watching over. For that certain period of time. But then they also cite, and let me just find it here. Where will I find my Lord Father? This is Tyrion speaking. In the Solar with Lord Tyrell and Prince Oberyn. Mace Tyrell and the Red Viper breaking bread together. Strange and stranger. That last bit was Tyrion's inner monologue. But so there was opportunity, and they did bring this up in the show. There's this one last section I'll read, and it says, "To be sure, I have much to thank your sister for." This is Grand Maester Pycelle during Tyrion's trial. If not for her accusation at the feast, it might well be you judging me instead of me judging you. The prince's eyes were dark with amusement. Who knows more of poison than the Red Viper of Dorne, after all? Yeah. And they did make mention of that when Tywin goes to visit Oberyn in the brothel.
Right.
He says, "Oh, didn't you study poison?" And so it's already been established that Oberyn has an extensive knowledge of poisons.
Right.
But yeah, I just thought so. Everyone should check that out. I think it's really interesting, and the guy makes a really valid point.
And it makes a lot of sense because he utilizes the poison against the Mountain. So why wouldn't he do that also against Tywin, who's the head of the family?
Head that spoke the words, not just the hand that swung the swords.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's going
to be exciting to see. That's going to be a really interesting scene to see.
Yeah. So what the other big thing?
Other big spoilers I can't really talk about because you're not there yet. But
the other big one, which is not, it's a tiny little thing, but it's going to be so dramatic when they do it, is when they show Catelyn Stark's reanimated zombie body.
Yeah. They haven't talked about that. Also,
which they're gonna I guarantee they're gonna do it correctly because you've heard nothing really about the Starks too much except for Arya.
That's gonna be a shock because people have forgotten about Catelyn Stark completely.
It's gonna be. I'm hoping that's gonna be as big as the Red Wedding kind of thing, where these characters from season 1 who we the phrase we never thought about them again, and then these are the people who
Right.
like kill off these major characters. Like what? And
Yeah.
and so then now we're involved in something else, and then out of nowhere we're gonna have Caitlyn. What? And I really hope I told you in the last spoiler episode. I hope they reenact the exact same shot when just before she gets her throat slit. It's just gonna be her and they're gonna zoom in slow, and it's just gonna be a long shot. And I hope they do it with like no music, so everyone can just watch it go like, holy fuck! Like
I hope that they just basically have that scene where it's that one Frey that discovers her, right? Isn't it the one? It's like a Frey who's
Yeah,
like
the third
he's
book-
always drunk because he gets these terrible migraines
yes,
from an
the
injury.
third book ends with like this one Frey. He's going out to meet some group or something
to exchange something for hostages, right?
And,
And then she's basically, no, I can't remember for sure, but hasn't. And so isn't it that Caitlin Stark's zombie has now taken up with Beric Dondarrion, right?
Yes.
Okay, and they're that group, Lemon
yes.
Cloak and all
so
those
what happens
guys.
is he
Thoros
meets up
of
with this
Myr.
group, and then these guys they all turn on this Frey guy, and they start hanging him. And as he's being hung, I think his eyes turn, and he sees like Lady Stoneheart, as they call her,
Yes.
and he's just horrified. At
Yeah.
and she has the slit neck.
They're
and
basically going around like convicting all of these people
Yes.
that would have been involved with these events that happened to her.
Yes.
And she's like passing judgment on them.
So what do you think? You might know this, but my feeling is that they came upon her corpse because they dumped it in the river, and I think who's the guy? Beric Dondarrion's right hand
I think it's
man?
Thoros of Myr, right?
Yeah, Thoros. I think he tried to do his magic thing on her, and it worked. But because she was so already decomposed, she came back to life. But now she's in this kind of body. I don't think she's a white.
No, I don't think. No, she's not a white.
She was summoned back with
because
this
I
magic,
think
right?
they established that there are two different things happening. There's what's happening beyond the wall,
which is like an ancient kind of thing.
yeah, which is something different than what's happening with this other kind of. Basically, these he's created these religions, these different schools of religion. But
Right.
there's this, I think what's happening with Thoros and like the Red Priestess and like R'hllor, however you say it, the Lord of Light. These people have been brought back to life as we've seen, but it's definitely a different a different kind of mysticism that's involved than whatever is happening beyond the wall. I think I don't, obviously I don't know for sure anyway, but that's just how I felt about it when I would read that
Well,
material.
that's the thing. That's the thing I like about Game of Thrones. That when it comes to magic, everything's very vague. It's it's like a very realistic portrayal of how magic would be in this setting. It's like everything about it is mysterious. No one really knows exactly how it works, but you see the results of it. And like, is it evil? Is it good? Like, okay, maybe we can use it for good, but does it corrupt? Like, nobody knows. And it's a very
Now, where are you? Where are you up to in A Dance with Dragons? I want to get like a reference point.
I haven't really started.
Okay.
I'm basically done with the fourth book.
All right.
I'm listening to the audiobook.
Because there's something, I don't know if I want to, I don't know how to say, but there's something like what I thought what Asher Greyjoy was going to do in this last episode is something that happens like almost at the end of the fifth book, but they may go back to it, so I won't say anything specifically about it.
Okay.
But I was just surprised that I was very surprised with what happened with Asher Greyjoy.
Okay. Here's the thing, though.
Because I was thinking something else. Oh man, there's a lot. It's weird because you asked me if there was any like major spoiler, and for some reason I just forgot because I guess A Dance with after Storm of Swords, the other books like it's hard to live up to that. They're fantastic, but like it's almost weird. Like there are a lot of major things happen. So I shouldn't have said what I said before. There's a lot of stuff that happened. There's some major twists because now I'm remembering them all as I'm talking to you about it because I feel like I'm about to say something, but then I have to stop myself because I realize it'll spoil something for you, and so then I realize, oh, that is a big deal.
All right.
But
here's the thing. Like, if you're listening to us and you want to leave a comment that's super spoilish, go ahead, because I'm not going to look at the spoilers. Boss isn't. Dexter, it's up to you to look at the spoilers, and you say, like, oh.
All right, I'll check them out.
Yeah, just look at it and you go, like, don't read it, but if everything looks good and clean,
I'll take
then...
a look. We got to Jorah Mormont. I think this hasn't happened yet, but he puts a move on Khaleesi, We haven't talked about that.
Well, that would have happened already.
That would have happened, but they may do it now.
You think so? Oh, because now she's becoming sedentary.
Now she's sedentary, so he may make the move now because that would have happened already. But
one of the biggest complaints I heard about the fifth book is people didn't like the way that Tyrion was treated, and the other thing is like people were upset because Daenerys seems to just not be doing anything. She just kind of and they kind of did it in this last episode.
Yeah.
Where she just kind of says, I think it's time for me to kind of stop and be queen. Yeah. Which I think, especially for Boss, I think he might be extremely pissed off at that. I know I was pissed off at that.
It's frustrating because, I mean, I understand, like, as what the character is thinking. Like, okay, how can I rule the Seven Kingdoms if I can't even rule a city? Yeah. But at the same time, like, there's things like with her story and with Bran's storyline of the book. Bran is hardly in the show at all. And I think they're doing as good a job as they can do. The people who work on the show, because that material, Bran especially to me, is like, that is bad TV. Like, it's hard. You could do that so easily. Like, it would be so short because it's just a lot of just traveling. You know what I mean? And things happen, and a lot of important things happen, but it's not good. To translating that storyline into a television show is tough.
Well, that's why they spice it up. That's why they, like in the episode
they had
before
that diversion,
last, they have Jon Snow almost meeting him again. You have Hodor being.
But I mean, we're gonna have
Morgan again.
Do you know who Cold Hands is?
I probably do.
Okay.
There's a few.
I can't remember when that character. That
here's the thing: in the fourth book, there are a lot of chapters about this guy called the Reaper.
I don't remember. Is that the the Greyjoy stuff?
Yes, it has to do with the.
Oh well, there's Euron Greyjoy. Yes, who has like the eye.
Yeah, it's some guy who can like breathe under, like the water doesn't kill him.
Well, that's Damp Hair. He's an uncle.
What the fuck is going on there?
Okay, so in the fourth book, in Feast for Crows, there's Balon Greyjoy is dead. He dies. Right. And I think we know that in the show already. Anyway, there's like some kind of accident befalls him. He like falls off a bridge or something during a storm. I can't remember. And I can't remember if there's any. Can't remember if that like smells of foul play at all. But anyway, that's what happens.
I'm sure Oberyn poisoned him or something.
He's like, I think I'll just go up to the Iron Islands for the weekend.
Let's just poison everyone I come in contact with.
I want to make sure that I get the right one.
Nasonex. Oh, I can breathe again. Yes.
It's good to be a bee.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He sounds like Triumph, the insult comic dog.
Yeah, you're
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes, you are a little whore. So what happens is there's like this kind of council that's brought together to determine who's going to take over, and Asha Greyjoy's got her bid in, and then there's like the Damp Hair, then they're all her uncles basically. So
and everyone's scoffing at the fact like, oh, who's this woman who's
she has like a shot, but she doesn't get enough backing. Then there's Victarion or Victorian or Victarion Greyjoy. He's the one I think that him and Damp Hair, who is like he becomes basically that one brother of Balon becomes a priest, and so what they do is like they worship the drowned god. So you're being baptized, but you basically what they do is they drown you, then they resuscitate you,
and then you come back,
and then you come back, and so you've been drowned. You know what I mean? That's
it
like
sounds
a rite
very
of passage.
Like Cthulhuoid mythos kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
like H.P. Lovecraft, like the dark ones and like something with the ocean, like we drown.
Yeah, but that would probably end up being like fish people or something involved.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, the fish people come later. First, you start with a cult, and then the fish people start coming up on land, and then you start doing sacrifices to the fish people.
Right, exactly.
If you've read any H.P. Lovecraft, you know what it's all about.
I was never a fan of Lovecraft.
Isn't their sigil like a giant, like kraken, like a?
It is.
Squid?
Yeah, the kraken. Yeah,
it's Cthulhu, man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe they're
you don't
Cthulhu
like Lovecraft.
Not the few stories that I've read.
I remember you told me once you read like a short story, you didn't like it.
I read a couple. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is like. I wanted to like make a short film out of it because I was like, this would be hilarious. And it was just like this one guy who's like they're mining or something, and the guy goes down into the mine, and they're like communicating by like some kind of phone or wire or something, and then it's like, how you doing down there? And then he's just like, this is all I remember. I'm sure I'm leaving out some important things.
I think I've read this story.
But,
I think you might be butchering it.
And then, like, he keeps communicating with this guy, and then he finally communicates with him for the last time, and then it's just a voice he doesn't recognize, and it goes, you fool, Steven is dead, or something. And that's the end. And I was like, this is bad.
Here's the thing about H.P. Lovecraft is a lot of his stuff involves, like, undescribable horrors.
Oh, right.
So you can't describe it. But a lot of it's the idea behind, and also the horror behind, like, the Cthulhu mythos is, like, people, they have these quick visions of, like, there's one great short story where this guy meets up with this older gentleman who's, like, he thinks he's insane, but they become friends, and he starts living in his apartment, and then they start doing, like, some sort of narcotics and stuff, and they do it every night. They get, like, super high, and it's because they have these visions where they're traversing through this underwater realm, and they always get this slight glimpse of, like, some greater energy that's out there, and then one night the man completely enters that other realm, and so he's seeing, like, visions of, like, what's, I forget the name of the Cthulhu city underwater. It's like Rarural or something. The whole point of Cthulhu is, like, even the name Cthulhu, that's just how you say it, but it's actually a word that human beings aren't supposed to be able to say, physically say.
Right.
So you can say Cthulhu.
Right.
But then this guy, he goes so deep into his, like, trip that he gets trapped there and he can't return, and then when they come back, he's completely turned to stone. He's like a statue, and then the police invade, and he's like, what the fuck is going on here? What happened to this man? And he's like, he saw something, and I can never see it again. And he was explaining, like, I saw the red horizon in the eye, and they saw us, like, the other beings in this other dimension. So, and the whole point of Cthulhu is, like, these are, like, creatures and this whole other thing that live in this other dimension, that the second they see you, they grasp onto you, because that's you made the connection to them. So now they're entering our world. And so that's why there's a lot of video games about Cthulhu. There's the role-playing game.
Which I do want to try.
Yes, that's where the whole premise of the sanity rolls.
See, that sounds awesome, but I think just the couple of stories I read were not good ones. I think
I don't even think that might not even been a Cthulhu story. That might have just been
that's
H.P.
not a Cthulhu
Lovecraft
story. It's just a Lovecraft short story.
Yeah, it might be him
so
when
I think
he was
I might
17, like writing out his dream or something.
He's like but I think I would like the Cthulhu stuff, but not.
And the great thing about that game is
the sanity rolls.
Sanity rolls, and also, like, you always play as, like, a scientist or something. Like, there's no real combat from what I've heard in that game. It's more about you have to try and, like, stop a cult. It's about, like, you got to do a lot of research. You have to solve mysteries and
not go insane.
And the whole point is, like, sometimes this cult, like, what they're trying to do is summon one of the deep ones, which is like some dark god or something.
Wow.
And the whole thing about all the Cthulhu creatures is the second you look at them, they're so horrifying. They drive you insane, and that's when you do the sanity. So you're not even supposed to even look at it.
That's crazy.
That's why, like, games like Penumbra and Amnesia, like, when you look at the monster, your character in the game starts to go, like, you have to look away. Like,
that's like this these Doctor Who episodes where this organization called the Silence, and when they're first introduced, they're like these aliens.
Yes, with the weird face.
Yeah, and the weird face. And then when you look at them, you're like, oh my god, like, holy shit, what the fuck? And then as soon as you look away from them, you have no memory that you even seen them.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. I love how, like, what they do with those in any episodes that they're in, because all of a sudden you see, like, these like marks on, like, your arms, and then, like, you'll see, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks laid out. And that means, like, you've seen 5 of them. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh man, and then they have no idea what's going on. Why are these marks here? Something else will happen. Then they look at themselves again, and they're, like, covered, and they, like, on their face.
Yes,
they're in them, and then, like, they're like, oh my god, it's so freaky. It's awesome. Anyway,
that's it.
We've gotten off track here.
What the fuck were we talking about?
Went from Game of Thrones to Lovecraft, Cthulhu to Doctor Who.
Oh, we're talking about the Theons and the Greyjoys.
Oh, the Greyjoys. Oh, yeah. Yes. So anyway, there's this there's another uncle that, like, everyone hates. Euron, I think. That's how I always said the name to myself. I think it's like Euron. I think.
Oren from Final Fantasy X, the coolest Final Fantasy character ever.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. This is your story. Dun, 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 dun. Remember Oron?
I remember.
He had glasses. He had a big jug of booze. He had the red robe.
Awesome.
Is he in the books? Is that what you're telling me?
I think so. George Martin wrote that character. But
No, I just remember
what
that
was I
one
saying?
character who was he would baptize people, he would drown them.
Oh, right.
They would be resuscitated and they become like part of this new religion.
So yeah, and then there's this one brother that they like don't want to win this kind of like vote, basically this like so that he would become the next king, even though I think he would be in line anyway, but they're trying to prevent that. And he has there's like something very mystical about him, and he had taken his ships and he had gone off like beyond like this point that anyone had really sailed since what's the like Valyrian, since Valyria had fallen and all this kind of business. Like something really weird going on with him. And so but he basically takes over, I think. I don't know, I can't really remember. Someone will clarify, I'm sure.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it
Sorry.
sounded interesting, everything I was reading there, but I just remember these characters.
Yeah, and Victorian is there. That's like he comes back. He has other chapters later on, and it's really cool because he basically is he's sent on a mission. He's going out there. He starts sailing out past like that other continent where Khaleesi is, and like past like into like these unknown kind of waters, basically. I think
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's really
the thing. Like,
and there's a lot of stuff that you got to find out about that's going to happen in the fifth book. There is like. The fifth book was okay. Like, it's basically catching you up on all the other characters that were not in A Feast for Crows, like Tyrion, Jon Snow.
Because it happens
like
concurrently with the fourth book, right? It's just,
it goes back to that beginning of that same timeline.
And then it goes
and
a
then
little
at some
further.
point it converges again, but only briefly.
Okay.
Like, it meets up, and then I remember not a lot of new stuff happens after the timelines meet again.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and the other interesting thing
there's
that's going to
some big
happen
stuff.
at the end of this season is Lysa Arryn.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about her. Oh, yeah,
now, here's the thing. Like, in the fourth book, what is Sansa's new name?
Oh, shit. Elise or something?
Something
I can't
like
even
that.
remember.
But then I remember in the fourth book, they start... Sansa chapters are now called Elise
Yes.
chapters. He completely changes the name.
Yeah.
So, I think,
what about Arya?
holy shit, yeah. Thank God you brought that up. Okay, the other thing that's going to happen before the Lady Stoneheart is going to be revealed, they're going to have this scene before that. Here's the thing, that the ending of Storm of Swords is such a fucking great book.
Well,
there's so many great
There's
things.
a lot going on.
There's the Red
They have
Wedding.
So much to do still.
Purple Wedding. You have Littlefinger revealing like he was behind it all. Then you have he's involved with Lysa Arryn
So
and everything.
what happens is at the end we were talking about real quick before we move on, just the Lysa Arryn thing. She gets thrown out of the moon door.
Yes, and then that murder
By
is
him.
blamed on the bard. Who
Yes,
was, like,
there's a
singing
bard there, right? And she's like doing something to Sansa, and then he comes in, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with her anyway. He's just using her, obviously, and so he kicks her out the door. She goes flying to her death. And they blame that bard. That's like the very end of the book, actually. That's the last thing that happens in Storm of Swords. Yeah.
And then the next chapter was the one with the Frey guy, and then Lady Stoneheart.
Yeah, that's the epilogue.
That's the very last thing. And then the other thing that occurs in this I'm probably going to cry, is the death of the Hound. And here's the thing, like, I was confused with that scene in I think like 3 episodes ago where they go to that little inn and he has that confrontation, because what I remember is that they go to this inn, Arya sees the guy who has needle, they go in there, there's a huge brawl. I remember that the Hound has like 2 flasks of wine. Like, I remember in the book, like, he had a huge thirst, he's like gulping down all this wine. And I thought after that they have this huge fight where he's mortally stabbed.
Right, and he becomes like infected. He's like feverish, and she leaves him underneath a tree.
Yeah, they start marching. They're going away. They're heading towards the Eyrie, but then halfway there, the Hound just goes into a tree and just says, like, I can't go. This is it.
Yeah.
And then Arya was about to kill him,
but she leaves him.
there. And here's the thing, like, he doesn't in the book. He he dies. You could say he dies, but there's no.
There's always rumors of him popping up here and there.
Yes, and also like he doesn't explicitly say like, oh, the Hound died there. It's just like she left him there. So the obvious conclusion is that he's dead under that tree. Yeah, but he's the Hound's.
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's. Maybe he isn't.
I think.
There's also other things we've already addressed. Other things about people coming back, being brought back. Who knows? I actually don't know. I don't think I have any confirmation of that for you for the future. I'll be honest about that.
Trying to insist on something.
No, I'm not. I honestly don't know. Or maybe I did know, but I forgot. But that's always a possibility. But Arya, we didn't talk about. She's going on to, and I don't know how far you are with her, but she's basically going to like assassin school.
Yes. Well, she takes the ship
she gets like a bunch of different names because she goes to that temple. Have you encountered that?
Yes, and
she's
the other
blinded.
thing I remember is Sam with Gilly is sent to the same continent where Arya is sent, right?
Yes.
And so he's kind of there
with Mance Rayder's baby.
Yes.
So they haven't. Did they address in the show yet that Mance Rayder has a son or has a pregnant wife? Basically,
no. Actually, this is one of the first.
Because they do a switcheroo. Because Stannis is going to come save the day at the wall.
Yes, and I hope they do it as cool as they describe in the book. Because he shows up there and he's wearing this fuck. First of all, in the book, at first you think, what? Is this some kind of
giant helm thing that he wears?
Weird, huge helm with some weird design. And at first you're thinking, is this some kind of fantasy creature that's coming, some fantasy army from the north that's coming to save everyone?
Yeah.
What is it? And then it's revealed this is Stannis, and I guess with backing from the Iron Bank, he's going to be able to hire an army to
and he has, and so
Thank
he
God.
has some ulterior motives there too. But basically, Jon Snow, who is now commander, basically has Sam leave with Gilly and leave with their baby. But it's Mance Rayder's baby. It's not her baby, which she, of course, is sobbing and crying and whining the entire time on the ship while they're going over to Bravos or something.
Yes, I remember they're very seasick as an Amidophobic.
Yes. And they also take the Targaryen from.
Yes, the old man.
Yeah.
Yes.
From the Watch. Yeah, that's right. But he does not make it.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. Man.
Oh, man. Jeez. And I was talking, and I forgot until I just mentioned it just now that Stannis saves the day at the wall.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Just talking about it with you is bringing back all the stuff.
At the wall, there's going to be a huge battle, and I hope on the show...
I can't believe I forgot so much.
I hope on the show they show it because they've been known to kind of skip over big battles and stuff. They kind of just get right to the aftermath where people are talking about what happened. Oh, Khaleesi, we stole 30,000 ships.
Yeah, wow,
Did
I've never seen a battle like that before.
Could we not afford to show that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a scene right here.
yeah. Basically, we're watching it in the background. Oh yeah, no big deal. He just comes in. You know what would have made that scene worse if it was Chin Guy? Then I would have been like, this show fucking sucks now.
Well, we already filmed the scene with him. What, are we going to refilm it?
Yeah,
we can't bring all these actors.
Too. Who knows?
Oh man,
who leaves Game of Thrones to become a rapper?
No, he left Game of Thrones to become the next transporter guy. Jason Statham left, and so they need him to be the next.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so he's up for the.
Give
role.
me a fucking break.
Well, this transporter Game of Thrones. What are you going to pick?
I love to make Crank 3. Still cranking.
Still cranky. Crankier old men. What?
Starring the corpses of Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
We're good friends.
I'm back from the dead.
Walking in single fire to hide their
son
numbers.
Of a bitch. Yeah. Well, this wasn't so much of a spoiler episode as it was a refresh our memory episode about what happens in the books.
Yeah, well, it's
because I forgot. I can't believe how I'm realizing now how much I actually forgot.
Well, that's why we're going to do two. We're going to do 2 episodes. Leave comments, say what you want to talk about. Make them super spoiler heavy. Give us your ideas of who, what, where, and why.
Yeah. Just keep in mind that if it's too into Dance with Dragons, it may not come up because Oxnard hasn't read it. I'll look through them, but we won't talk about stuff if you haven't
I'll
gotten
speed
to it
read.
yet.
I'll speed read it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do it. Hurry up.
I'm trying. I love listening to the audiobook. That's what I listen to all day. The first 3 books were read by this older guy.
Oh, really?
I forget his name, but man, that guy was so great. And the 4th book is read by this other guy. He's not as good, but it's okay.
Maybe I'll try. Maybe my brother can download them for me. I'd like to hear them and refresh my memory.
Yeah.
I can listen to them in my car now. It's so
but he's like an old guy, and he does all the voices, even the young girls and stuff. He does all the voices.
Really?
And
That's like the guy.
It.
Oh, what's the guy's name? Do you remember?
Let me see.
Oh, I hope it's the same guy that did the Lord of the Rings audiobooks. Because that guy's fucking awesome. He does the same. He does all the voices too. It's so great, and he transitions into them seamlessly, and they're just slightly different enough so you can tell them apart from one another.
Roy Dotrice.
Oh, okay. I think that's a different person. He looks awesome.
He was born in 1923, so.
Yeah, I think it's a Robert something that did the Lord of the Rings and a
I
Hobbit
heard
one.
The guy who does the Harry Potter series also does a good job too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's awesome. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah. Okay. Any other spoiler things? Spoiler episode, bosses.
Well, the Arya stuff, she's training, she goes blind, she's like...
Oh, that's right. The other thing I wanted to say
stuff,
is...
and the alley cat shit or whatever, and then
isn't there
blinded.
a scene in the fourth book where she's at the temple and she's training, and then, like, there's a lot of people who just show up to the temple who, they give food to, and it's just, like, the idea is, like, no one, everyone's free from wants here, like,
yeah,
we help everyone. And then doesn't a guy, like, take off his hood, and it's like a skull? Like he's just like a skeleton or something? Oh,
jeez, I can't even remember. Maybe. I don't remember.
Is that a dream I had, or is
I don't know. Someone will let us know. But there's something to, like, she's getting, like, this special... She, like, basically, she sets up, she's selling at that market, like, the oysters or something, right?
Yes.
And she, like, becomes, like, one of the best... She, like, she's, like, selling all that shit there.
Yeah.
It's, like, all these tests. And then, she has to... Oh, man, I can't believe I forgot all this. She has to do something, like, forget her name...
Yes,
and she keeps lying about it. You know what I mean? Like she hasn't
become
or
a
she has to.
man.
Oh, face. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, the faceless man.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I knew it was something like that. I can't remember what she was doing. Oh yeah. So all that stuff's going on too.
Yeah.
That's man. There's a lot of stuff going on. You should definitely try and get through as much of Dance of Dragons as you can before we do the second episode of this, because there's some.
Give me
there is
a
some
week.
Big stuff. There is some big stuff. Yeah, maybe next week we can do that. But yeah, big stuff.
All right, so anything else in this season? Any big things that are going to occur you want to give your ideas about?
Not that I can think of right now. I'm hoping that other people will bring some stuff up. I think we covered the major things. I'm trying to think. Arya, Tyrion, Sansa, we covered.
And so everything with Reek, that's all new stuff to me. I'm assuming that's from the fifth book.
That's
right?
from the fifth book.
Okay.
Definitely. And they're getting into fifth book stuff with Bran, too. But I think that's because they weren't in Dance with Dragons. They weren't in Feast for Crows anyway, so they have to go into the fifth book.
Right. Now, there's just a personal question. At what point in the show do you think they're really going to do that final, we're stepping away from the novels because George Martin isn't keeping up with their show?
Soon.
You think soon?
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
There's really not much choice because...
They're doing a great job with keeping it on track, and I know George Martin has told the producers and everything, like, he knows where the story's going to be, he knows where the story's heading, and he's also said in interviews, like, the show is its own thing, and, like, if they ask me to do, like an episode, like, to write it, I'll do it, this and that, but always treat the show as a separate thing. But I'm waiting for the day where, like, that one episode goes, like... Wow, like that's completely different.
Never seen that before.
Now the show is definitely its own thing.
Yeah.
Like so far, it kind of teetered, like especially in the Bran and Jon Snow at Craster's Keep kind of thing. Like I thought, oh man, this could be where it really goes awry.
I mean, it's interesting. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen the way it's going. I think it's going to happen for some characters, but not others, because for some characters, they're way ahead of where they were. Like this Theon stuff. That happens in Dance with Dragons because he kind of disappears for a while, in the other books. But, we're not close yet at all to where Tyrion ends up, like that ending, because he hasn't even left yet. We were talking about he hasn't even escaped the Keep. That's all he's still all in the third book. Tyrion, you know what I mean, and Jon Snow, and like we have mentioned before, like some stuff hasn't even happened. Like Jorah Mormont is still with Daenerys. He's long gone at a certain point, and like that's important that he's not there because there's other stuff that goes on, and that's important in the fifth book. So I mean, it's weird. Like a bunch of the characters are moving like ahead of schedule. Other characters are moving like into the fifth book and fourth book and everything, and other characters are still in the third book, their storyline. So it's just interesting how it's all coming together.
By the way,
like
do you have any idea like how in depth any of the behind the scenes stuff like on the DVDs would be? Like, you know how Lord of the Rings they had the appendices?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would love to see like
love
footage
to see
of them in the writing room and like, okay, we need to cover this, that, and this, and this.
There is an interesting thing. I started watching it on Netflix. There was a show. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. I'll tell you later. Probably just edited this out. But there's a show by the guy who co-wrote the movie The Descendants, the Alexander Payne movie with George Clooney, and he won an Academy Award for that. He hosts this show that's on Netflix, and it's basically about writing. and like TV show. It's like one of the things, like writers for some TV shows, writer for some movies and things like that. And one of the episodes is D.B. Weiss and Dave
Venihoff.
What the hell is his name?
Dave Venihoff.
Yeah, Benihoff.
Benihoff.
I think. Yeah, David Benihoff and D.B. Weiss, and they're talking about like their process, how they started. Like it's interesting. I was only able to watch at the time the first 15 minutes, but they basically are talking about how they like a little bit about their history of writing. David Benioff wrote like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, that I didn't realize, movies and a novel or two, but about how they got into this and like their writing process and how that works. So, and I'm sure on the DVDs it has some stuff, maybe even on HBO Go. But
I remember HBO Go.
I don't think anything like Lord of the Rings, where they had like the 2-disc special.
The documentaries
features,
on
which
Lord of the
were
Rings
incredible.
are like 3 times longer than the fucking movie, and like
I love
show
them
you every...
too. I've
Yes.
seen them like 5 times.
Yes.
Like completely just like sitting. They've been on the background so many times.
Yes.
But I remember like I would go through phases where I would just like sit there and just watch them, and it would be
like whenever
I was so
I have a
fascinated.
project, like a freelance project that I know is going to be, oh man, this is definitely like an all-nighter, probably well into the next day, like I need to get this shit done. I put that on the background, and just having that presence of like, look at all these people working on this project they're so passionate about.
Yeah.
Like it just gives me inspiration. Like I would love to see that same thing for Game of Thrones, because and also it would just be so fascinating to see how they compartmentalized assets of the book. Because it's so complicated. There's so many characters.
Yeah.
When do you show this? When do you do that? Like if you do this too early, then this is not going to work, and this and that, and like this character, it just seems like a huge.
Oh, definitely.
It just seems like this fucking massive. I just want to see the brains behind this making this thing work.
Yeah, you should check this out, because they talk about a couple of things that I remember that were interesting. One was they wrote the pilot.
Yeah.
And, they thought, oh, yeah, this is great. And then they're like, and then, they have Jaime and Cersei making out and the tower, and then they push Bran out the window. And then, they thought, oh, yeah, that's great. What a big shock that is in the show. And then a friend of theirs read it, and they were like, this is not good. You have a big problem, because they were so into the books. I mean, they, like, devoured them. They knew them inside and out, and, like... So
you get tunnel vision.
Yeah, and so they realized that they didn't realize that nobody knew that these people were brother and sister. Even because they knew what was going on, but it didn't come out in the writing, so they had to like completely redo it. And then so that was interesting. And another thing that was interesting was people had come to George Martin many times saying, we've cracked it, we know how to make movies out of this, you know what I mean, and out of your story, and
it sounds so similar to Lord of the Rings, because so many people tried to make Lord of the Rings into a movie before Peter Jackson. It was I told you, it was Walt Disney was one of the first. He and also like Tolkien sold the rights for Lord of the Rings so cheaply, because he was like, you can never make this a fucking movie.
This is impossible.
Like, he had no idea, like, in the future we would have, like, digital special effects and this and that, and you would be able to do that. So, he sold it so cheaply, and then Disney was toying around with the idea of making it, like, a cartoon, and then I told you Kubrick was playing around with the idea of thinking of doing it.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
Yeah, and I forget, man, there were a lot of directors who wanted to do it. And then finally Peter Jackson, he was the guy who came up.
They originally had a 2-film treatment.
Yes.
And then that was the whole thing. It was like, no, has to be 3 films.
Well, they were shipping it around, and then one film company said, does it need to be 2 films? And they were like, what do you mean? It's like, can you make it 1 film? And they're like, oh, okay, fuck. And so then I think they went to New Line, and the head of New Line, the guy at the head of New Line, they say he was like notoriously hard to read. Yeah. So he was saying like, it was 2 films. And they're like, yeah, but isn't it 3 books? Shouldn't it be 3 films? And they're like, yeah, we should probably do 3 films. And they're like, okay.
Yes.
And the great thing about that story is, like, Peter Jackson, he did all those independent films, and so when he was showing the different film companies stuff, like, oh, look, we can definitely do this, it was stuff, like, he independently funded, like, here's a set we built, and we filmed this, and did this and that, like, we can do it. We just need, like, more financial backing to get it done. Yeah. It's a very inspiring story.
And what's interesting, there's a similar. It's very similar to what these guys kind of did.
Yeah, I would love to see like a 6-hour-long documentary.
Well, that would be awesome. Especially too, all the costumes and set designs and everything. The details.
I want to see every
handmade.
department, everyone involved, saying what they thought of this and that, and the whole process of getting this
and
on screen.
Location hunting and all this stuff in Ireland and Croatia. I think they filmed, but it's funny because they talk about when they were talking to George Martin about bringing in like HBO and like this should be a series and all this stuff. So that was intriguing, obviously, and that's really the best way to do it. Thank God they did it that way.
Yes.
And but I think
it wouldn't work as
about,
a movie.
Hell no, it's impossible.
Yeah, how would you?
Impossible. But so they say George Martin was like tested them, and he was like, all right, you know everything about the book, so what do you think happens to like some character? They don't go into detail because it would be a huge spoiler, but they guessed right. Oh no, it was who's Jon Snow's mother.
Oh, okay, I don't know that.
And I don't that may have come up. I don't remember if it did though, which is terrible, but I don't even know the answer. Whether it was in Dance with Dragons or not, I can't remember. But someone will let me know, I'm sure. But yeah, so they got it right. And then
so that gave him a little,
and then that was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this kind of thing.
And I also remember after the Red Wedding episode, they had this little 15-minute documentary on HBO, and they were explaining like, one of the main reasons we started the show was just so we can get to the third season, so we can get to that Red Wedding. I was like, these guys, like, if I was making the show, that's my exact.
That's what I was just hoping, because I was hoping that the show made it just to that so that they could do that, because that's all I wanted, because I was afraid that it would be too expensive and it wouldn't make enough money and they would have to cancel it, like what happened with Rome, which was only ended up being 2 seasons, but which was a pretty good show and I liked it a lot, but it was too expensive, it cost HBO too much, it wasn't popular enough, so I was just hoping and praying that this would make it to this point, because I was like, I just want the 3rd season. Please give me the 3rd season of the show.
And we got it. Then not only we get the 3rd season, we got the 3rd book in 2 seasons. It's a cultural
phenomenon. Yeah, the show now. I mean, it's enormous. Everybody knows Game of Thrones. It's crazy.
It's great.
I remember when it was just. I remember when I first heard of the books. I never heard of them. Nobody ever heard of these things. I'd be like, in a conversation with somebody, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading A Song of Ice and Fire. These books are incredible." And they'd be like, "Oh, I never heard of that." And, I would suggest the books to somebody, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe, and I think, they're never going to check this out. But now everybody fucking knows what this is.
It's the cool thing. It's becoming the popular thing.
I liked Game of Thrones before it was cool.
I read the first book in 1996 when it first came out.
No, definitely not.
Fuck
I read it
you
in
guys.
The early 2000s.
So my dream,
it's crazy.
My dream at this point is hopefully the same treatment will be given to Asimov's Foundation.
Oh! Because I can only hope. That would be incredible.
Because we've been so lucky with all the fiction we've read. Lord of the Rings, we got 3 fucking amazing movies. If you're a fan of Harry Potter, you got that whole thing.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, we got that.
Yes.
Battlestar Galactica was one that we never even.
Battlestar Galactica was just like, here's a treat for you.
Yeah, it's like Battlestar Galactica, that sounds gay, and then our friend started showing us. I was like,
what?
This is amazing.
Our friend was like, oh, let's go to Best Buy. I want to get something. And then I was like, what? Oh, I want to get a DVD of the show, and you should check it out. And I was like, well, what is it? He wouldn't tell me. And he's like, Battlestar Galactica. And I was like, you're a fucking nerd. Fuck you. We're not friends anymore. Yeah, and then he showed me, and I was like, this is the greatest show I've ever seen.
And now
obsessed with that show.
Yeah, now we got Game of Thrones. And the next big one for me is we kind of Narnia. That's kind of like a kid's book.
The books, obviously, but then I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The other movies I did not care for.
I didn't like that they didn't do the first book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
The Magician's Nephew?
Yes, that's the first book. That's like the
That's
prequel.
the professor in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, it explains the whole reason why the wardrobe came to be. It's because he
witnesses the creation of these worlds.
Yes,
and he first sees the witch.
Yes, and it's very goofy, but it's pretty cool. Like the reason why
awesome.
The reason why there's this what's that called? The torchlight, the street post.
Yeah.
The reason that's there is because the witch took that from our world and took it back to her to Narnia, and she was actually from another world. She wasn't from Narnia.
No, she wasn't. Yeah, she came from another realm,
and that's why
it was like almost his fault, wasn't it? Yeah,
and that's why she's such like a cancerous force in this Narnia world, and that's why everyone's against her, because she's so unnatural there. And
oh man, and like the Prince Caspian book, I remember. And like the Dawn Treader book too.
Yeah, but
I was like, I loved the books; they were fucking fantastic. And then I was like, oh god, I never even. Come on, he's a champ. He's a champion. But Dawn Treader in particular, I could not even get through that movie. I could not. I watched 20 minutes of that movie. No more. Prince Caspian, that movie fucking pissed me off. Yeah. I was like, this is bullshit. I don't know, it just made me mad.
Prince
that movie.
Caspian?
Yeah, that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did not like it because
I liked it a lot.
I was so excited for it, and I was like, no.
Well, I told you.
When I
You have to
saw
remember.
I don't know.
The book
But
is...
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I loved.
Yeah, and they're not great movies, but it's good to see like something you read and you got into and see it on screen.
Yeah.
And yeah, Foundation, Asimov's Foundation. That's the next one.
Well,
I don't know if it's going to be.
They already fucked up with iRobot. Couldn't fuck that up anymore.
I don't even pretend.
If you tried.
Just pretend that doesn't exist. Yeah. Oh my god.
Let's hope it's like this Godzilla reboot, where it's like forget the old Roland Emmerich Godzilla. Hopefully, this Godzilla will be incredible. But if somebody can put, remember we watched the movie Four Feathers,
yep.
which we saw the preview for this movie.
He's
starring
Indian director.
Heath Ledger was in it, right? And
also the kid from
American Beauty,
American
right?
Beauty, yeah.
And
then he goes blind
and,
halfway through the movie.
Yeah, and we were the preview. Oh, we were like, "Wow, this movie looks fucking awesome." I don't know why we thought that, but the preview really convinced us.
It
and
looked
we went
cool.
to see the
You
movie.
saw this epic battle scene
Yeah.
where like these horses are like surrounded by this huge arm. It looked like something important.
Yeah.
Honest, we saw that. I saw that movie. I've seen that movie twice. I have no idea what the fuck is going on there.
Well, yeah, we saw it in the theaters.
We saw it in the theaters.
It was like we were shocked at what a fucking piece of shit
like,
that movie was.
I don't understand. Like,
oh my god,
I consider myself somewhat
intelligent.
intelligent. Like, I can coherently think when I watch a movie, even if something's bad. Like, I can kind of follow the story. Like that movie, I have no idea what year, what is going on in that movie.
Honestly, I think I blocked most of that movie out of my memory. All I remember is British people in their red coat uniforms,
Yeah.
and then I remember the African guy from Gladiator was
Yes.
in that movie. And then wasn't the last scene like him laughing at a sunset?
Yes,
or
someone
something?
says something, and then he's like, whatever. He turns around,
Yeah.
he turns his back, and he waves his hand.
all the leaves are, all the leaves
And
are
then we were joking,
brown
like,
and
the
sky
credits
is
roll,
green.
like,
Yeah.
as he's walking away.
And that
all
song
the
starts
leaves
playing.
are brown, all the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray.
That movie was so. But then we were horrified because we heard a rumor that the horrible man who directed that movie, was going to direct
The horrible man.
was going to direct a Foundation movie.
There's been so many rumors like that. It
Roland
pops up-
Emmerich is the other one. Is the most
Yes.
recent rumor.
Yeah.
That would be. Oh,
I
that
think
would
it's
be
dying down.
so disastrous.
Yes.
Oh God, I can't even imagine
Man,
how
if
bad
they-
that would
if
be.
they were gonna do it,
might as
I
well
would-
just have Michael Bay. Just give the rights to Michael Bay. It's like Michael Bay and Roland Emmerich present Asimov's Foundation. I will kill myself.
Oh God, I'm just hoping. Oh God, here's my dream. It's never gonna come true, but I'm
we
hoping.
make Foundation.
Yeah, well, that would be fun, but I want people like genius people who love the book, passionate about it.
Yeah.
I want them to remake iRobot, make it an anthology
yeah.
movie. The whole point of iRobot, it's a short
stories.
Short stories. Do those short stories. Show it. Then you build. You just keep building, and
Yeah.
then you get to the Foundation, and you do these movies, and then
Oh man.
really like
So yeah,
treat it
so
as
you want to go through the robot series with Elijah Bailey and all that, and
Yeah,
like Solaria and right and
Yes.
like
because it
all
would be
the,
so awesome because you get introduced to Daniil.
Oh yeah,
And then to
Daniil,
have Daniil-
robot Daniil Oliva.
Yeah, and then you have that final shot of the very final movie, Foundation and Earth.
Ooh.
And Daniil is there
Spoiler
again,
alerts.
who's from like 20 movies ago, and he's like, "Holy shit!" Like I'm telling you, like you can make it such a fucking saga of a science.
And all the spacer worlds. Yeah, you go back through all the spacer worlds that
Yes.
you already went through with Elijah, and on these like adventures there, and then oh my god, and you find they're in these bizarre states of decrepitude and
Yes.
something horrible has happened, and
Yeah.
and then this mysterious Earth is a myth. You know what I mean? You're on the hunt for it's.
Everything about
man,
it is
the
great.
Foundation. I mean, that's I mean, I love Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. It's so hard. I always go back and forth, but Asimov and the robot through the Foundation series is the greatest things I've ever read.
Yeah, there's another excellent sci-fi writer. He wrote it through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I forget his name, but basically he wrote. It's about the near future. He writes about the society of people where people do glanding. Where it's basically you it's a society of people who are like, oh, okay, I want to be a woman next month, and you start glanding yourself, and so next month you will be a woman. I want to know.
weird.
I want to know what it's like to be pregnant. I want to know what it's like to breastfeed. I want to know what it's like to be doing this. I want to know what it's like to be a giraffe. So you start glanding, and you can genetically modify yourself. And it's his very interesting book. I forget the guy's name, but Greg Proops was talking about it. He was on Joe Rogan. he was talking about this author. That's the next thing I want to read. He wrote like a series of novels, and it sounds very interesting. And it sounds like he predicted a lot of things, like how everyone's connected, like today with like cell phones and stuff like that. Like he was coming up with these concepts and how it's going to change like what it is to be like a human being, because human beings have never had that before.
That's
like
true.
Instant access to information and stuff like that. All right.
And what do we look up? Mostly IMDb facts.
Yeah, that's it.
And just pointless information.
Right, we're getting way off Game of Thrones.
Wow, this was, like I said, this is not even a spoiler. This is just this is more of a how-do episode.
No, it's a spoiler for people who haven't read the books. We're definitely talking about things that are going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, leave comments. Tell us what you think, and we're going to do a follow-up video after this, and we're going to talk more about it. Hopefully this helps refresh our memories. I'm going to try and get into Dance of Dragons a lot.
Yeah, then we'll do this again next week, and
yeah,
all right.
So don't worry, more STS to come.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I'm Oxnard.
Dexter. Goodbye.
Oh.